how much of an improvement can you get from the 30%? Like, what was one aspiring to, or what were you seeing people could get to in the?
I know at GCP they were trying really hard to get near 50, and that's really hard, right? You have to actually be quite clever to get to 50. The normal Google fleet, like the container stuff, the not GCP stuff, the utilizations were usually in the 40s. And every so often we'd hit 50. But hitting 50 is actually pretty challenging.
So do you think, so we have heard Microsoft once earlier this year made some comment that they were, Chris, was it well below 50 or
maybe
around 50? Something like below 50, I think, was the comment. So that wouldn't surprise you at all in Azure that they would be below 50, given.
No, I'd be willing to bet they're probably in the 30s.
Right. So you would say that, okay, all right. So because they would be less sophisticated than what you guys managed to do to get to because obviously Azure is bigger than GCP.
Well, no, actually, it's just that the 30s is fairly easy to get to. And you don't have to know a lot about your processes to get there. When you start going over the mid 30s, then at that point you have to start knowing a lot about your process. Now, Azure does have the advantage that some of their load is Office 365. And so they know a lot about those processes, right? So they have some unfair advantage there. So they may have actually be a little bit higher, but yeah, it would not surprise me for them to be, like most people who start a cloud service, their utilizations will be in the 30s, pretty quickly. And then they'll start running up the curve of being more sophisticated about how they allocate stuff.
So someone made some comment. Well, the other comment we've heard on this, which again, you would probably know whether it's valid or not. Someone was saying they were able to get a 25% efficient by making some big software updates. People were able to get 25% efficiency gains previously. That would probably be viable, right? If you were at 30 and you did all this stuff you just described, going from 30 to 40 was some sort of viable.
Yeah, no, that cloud went up 25% over 6 months, merely by paying attention. But
in this day and age, do you think those gains are done? I mean, to your point of you just kind of hit an efficient. If you've made it to 50, there's no way you're getting another 25 anytime quickly, or do you think that one can constantly be pushing that efficient frontier with that?
You could probably get up to maybe in the 60s, depending on how tolerant you were going to be of restarts and VM migrations and things like that.
Well, that can be a tremendous win, right? Going from 50 to 60, which is 20%, right?
Give me a lever long enough and I'll move the earth. Yeah, this is a huge lever, right? For a cloud service, increasing your utilization is a big, big deal.
And do you think Amazon
Search figured that out at Google a long time ago, which is why their machine utilization is 85%.
Search is 85%.
Yeah, their utilization typically runs 80 to 90%, right? And that's because they're only running one kind of process, right? They know exactly what their workload is, and their workload is designed to be robust against restarts.
I think you said the rest of Google services were 50
before they get kicked out, right?
Didn't you say the rest of Google services were 50? Is that some blend of search and YouTube and all this other stuff, or?
Yeah, most of the other Google services are lower than search. Search and ads were always at the very high end because they had very predictable loads, and they had networks of software in front of them that applied the load to individual clusters so that they could meter their load coming in, and that's a situation where you can get to extremely high utilization, right?
Would you think that AWS would have a much higher utilization than GCP or Azure?
It probably has a higher utilization than GCP for the simple reason that they've been at it a long time, and they probably learned a lot of things to do in order to increase their utilization.
So if you had to guess where they were, do you think they would be somewhere in the 50 to 60 range or something?